Yes, this is me ugly crying, and yes, I'm a grown-ass man. Money in the Bank 2023, the second year in a row, WWE came to the UK, this time in London, just as far away for us to drive. They billed it as a Big Five event, whereas I've never actually seen the Money in the Bank ever billed as a Big Five event before, but that is besides the point. Myself and Jamie, my saviour from the ghost at Clash at the Castle, knew we wanted to go. Money in the Bank wasn't announced until rather late, like at the start of the year, so you only had a few months before it was coming up, which is probably normal. Whereas with Clash at the Castle, it was quite a distance away that you could prepare for it. The problem that I had straight away, I had already booked a holiday when Money in the Bank was scheduled. Obviously, I'm not going to cancel my holiday just to go to the wrestling. But Money in the Bank started 7 or 8 o'clock at night. I had to get a plane from Manchester at like 5 in the morning. So I was on a pretty teetering time limit here, but I'll get to that in a little bit. I still wanted to go. I was thinking of ways to make it happen. Later on, I wanted the tickets now. It was at the O2 Arena. It was a small venue. The O2 Arena is like 20,000 capacity, so pretty much any seat you get is going to be a good seat. The problem is, a 20,000 seater stadium sells out pretty damn fast when it's a sought after show to go to. As soon as pre-sale was announced, I had the date marked down in my calendar. I was not missing this date. It did fall on a time where I was in work, so I had to basically stand around and do nothing for half an hour while I tried to secure tickets. And I was there first in the queue, but the problem is with Ticketmaster, it doesn't matter if you're the first to click there or if you're the last to click there. They give you a random number. As far as I'm aware, I was probably one of the first people to click it because I was exactly on the time limit they went on sale. I was putting a random number in the queue, somewhere like 15,000th in the queue. I was waiting in that pre-sale line for at least 10 to 15 minutes. When I finally got my turn, there were no tickets. None. They were gone. I was heartbroken. After the heartbreak, I was trying to come to grips with it, but I couldn't. I was refreshing the page all day in work trying to get tickets to come up, and tickets did start to come up, and I was seeing £1,000, £900, £800, £1,000 again, £2,000. It was a done deal. We weren't going until one set of tickets came up, and I didn't even question to ask him how much he was willing to pay. One set of tickets came up that was somewhere in the region of £350 each, so £700 in total for combo tickets. So £350, it was a done deal. I paid for it. Told Jay, he was like, I'm not really happy with that amount, but I suppose we're going. That's fun. The fact that we paid $350 for these seats, and they were such good seats. They were such good seats. Oh my God. And obviously we were in the same seat for SmackDown and Money in the Bank. Overall, probably in the region of £1,000 we spent in total. I don't know if that's good or not. Compared to our Clash at the Castle one, where I can't remember what I said in the video. Watch that. Money in the Bank. We got SmackDown, Money in the Bank, and 2 nights in London rather than one night that didn't even happen at Clash. 2 nights in London for around about £1,000, and then that includes travel there as well because I drove again. What I wanted to do was I wanted to get the train there. Bear in mind I had a time limit where I had to get back to Manchester, so no train linked up in the perfect time where Money in the Bank finishes and I get a train and go straight away. So I had to drive and have like some Mission Impossible shit happen after the event. The day of SmackDown, which was a Friday, of course, we went out into like Camden. I'm pretty sure this is like one of the roughest areas. I'm not entirely sure. SmackDown was great. SmackDown was what you'd expect a show to be leading up to a significant pay-per-view. A Big Five, apparently. We were supposed to have like this VIP kind of section where you could go in. We went in, but there were no seats whatsoever, and we didn't want to just stand in here drinking for, I think it was like 40 minutes before the show started. So I just said, let's go talk to these guys and see if they'll budge up a little bit. They're wrestling fans. We've got something in common. So we squidged on over, had a decent time drinking with these 2 lads. Went on to watch SmackDown. Now, I'm going to glance over SmackDown. After SmackDown went off the air, Booyaka, he's returned again for us to see in the UK. Jay literally told me after the show, that he was very close to crying when Ray came out, even though we'd seen him before, but he was really close to crying because it was such a big surprise. I was surprised, like, it was mental. There was like a London bus parked outside where they had like merch of like Rhea Ripley stuff and different wrestlers' attire. The only reason I can remember the Rhea Ripley stuff is because we bumped into the two lads that we were drinking with the day before in the line, and they let us like push in and stand with them in the queue and go see what this bus was about. And the only reason I remember that Rhea's stuff was there in particular because I remember turning around and one of these two just sniffed the ring gear, which was crazy. But you do you have some fun with that, I guess. Anyway, we got to talking with them again, and they actually left before the show ended, and they didn't get to see Rey Mysterio, which I thought, oh my god, not getting to see that is just kind of heartbreaking, realistically. The Money in the Bank, we actually get to that, and of course it opens up with the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. This was a really good match, and a lot of people thought LA Knight was getting his like big break here. There were two, and obviously the other one that I had in mind that could have won, and it was LA Knight and Damian Priest. I thought Damian would win, and Damian did win. A lot of people were like kind of heartbroken that LA Knight didn't win because obviously an uproar of a fan momentum. So it was kind of disappointing. You had the Logan Paul Ricochet spot that almost went terribly wrong. That was cool. A lot of fun spots in the match. It was a fun match. On to Liv and Raquel against Ronda and Shayna, which was quite a surprise of a match, realistically, because I don't think many people cared about the match. But then all of a sudden there was just a turn, like Shayna turned on Ronda. And I didn't expect it. I didn't even understand what had happened. I feel like I looked away. All of a sudden, that happened. And you had new tag team champions. You know, it was weird. This is a match I actually forgot happened. You had Gunther against Matt Riddle. I don't even remember this match, so I can't even tell you if it was good or not, to be completely honest. So that says a lot about it being that good of a match, if I can't even remember it. After the Gunther match was when we got a Drew McIntyre return. It was the first time we seen him since WrestleMania 39. And that was another massive boom. He's from the UK. It was a really good event. Cody Rhodes against Dominic Mysterio. This was just random. Again, I think they had to put Cody on the card, realistically, for the UK, because obviously he wasn't there last time round. Dom had Rhea out there to probably make you think that he had the chance, but Cody has to win. Alright, you know, it was obvious. It was a strange matchup. I got to see my dirty Dominic Mysterio, the best wrestler there is. After Cody and Dom was the moment that I could not comprehend, nor could Jay. I genuinely could not believe that I actually got to see John Cena in real life, in person. It was the most like in awe I've ever felt in my life. I genuinely cried. That is me crying on the screen. There's Jay with tears in his eyes as well. Complete babies, bubble blowing babies we felt like when this man came out. We genuinely thought it was like when they show trailers for like a thing coming out on the network, but we heard the music go and I burst into tears. I couldn't believe it. I was so happy that I just couldn't hold it in. It was crazy. The thing is, they had his merch out at Money in the Bank, but we didn't think anything of it. But I almost glanced over the fact that this happened, even though this is why I made this video, because I couldn't believe it, man. It was insane. It was so crazy. Oh my god. You got to see him like have a promo with Grayson Waller, hyping up the thought of having a WrestleMania in London. And then ever since then, I'm pretty sure he's actually mentioned that he wants to retire the O2 Arena. That because it's so fired up with emotion. And by God, I will find a way to be able to see that man wrestle if they do a WrestleMania in the UK and London. And then the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Io Sky won. I don't think anyone really thought anyone else would win that match. You had Becky and Trish in there, but I think they had a feud going on in and of itself. I, at least, didn't think anything was coming to a fruition from them. I just knew Io was the favourite, and Io was more than likely going to win. But a Money in the Bank match, Ladder matches are cool to see. Then you had Seth against Finn. I was quite surprised with. I genuinely think at the time I thought Finn would win. I can't remember if this was the first or second encounter. I'm not too sure. But it was a great match. When Seth and Finn face each other, it's always a good time, realistically. And on to the final matchup. This matchup was so sad. We only got to see probably 10 to 15 minutes of it, with no good reason for this either. So the main event was obviously the Usos against Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa in tribal combat. I didn't really understand the whole thing of tribal combat, really. The match was good. I had to rewatch it on the network because I had to leave 10 minutes of it starting. We at least wanted to see Roman's entrance. We got to see it. We got to see a bit of the match because I had a plane to catch, which made me feel like I was the man at the time, that I was traveling from London to Manchester to catch a flight over to Portugal. I felt crazy cool. The match was cool. It was what everyone was expecting, I think, with Jay getting the pin over Roman, making him the first person to pin him in, what was it, like 2 or 3 years, I think. But then they kind of ran away with it and didn't let it get anywhere. He obviously had his match against him later down the line. It was let go a little bit. Money in the Bank was just made by John Cena for me. It was insane how much of a difference that made. It was a great card regardless. It was a great event. It was a great time we had in London to see SmackDown and Money in the Bank. But oh my god, that Cena surprise was just something else. It was insane. I just wanted to talk about it a little bit. See ya.